everyone, this is Gayle, and I am going to attempt today to make a honeybee or a bee charm. I was outside yesterday looking around at what all needed to be done in my yard, and saw that there were some happy bees at one of my bushes, and got to thinking about how nice it was to have something that the bees liked, because our pollinators are important. We need to have our bees, and they're dying off terribly, so plant something that's bee friendly. But anyway, I saw a bee and I thought, I've been wanting to make a bee charm. I have a niece who raises bees, and I've been wanting to make a charm for her, so I thought, well, why don't I do that? Let me see if I can make a charm, and if it works, then I'll make her several, and maybe even a honeycomb or something, and put them on a bracelet for her. So what I've done is, I don't want it to be very large, so this is going to be a challenge. I got my largest Kemper round cutter, which is, I believe it's 1 inch. And I don't know if this is going to be big enough, but I didn't want to get out my other cutters. And I can't tell you what color this is or what type clay it is, because it all came out of my scrap bowls. And I just need this is the size of the clay that you need for the bee. And even though this shows up more yellow in the camera, it's really more of a honey color. But I'm going to just start by, I made a circle, a round ball, and then I slightly elongated it. And it doesn't really matter a whole lot at this point because you're going to be rolling it again, but I just like to start in the basic general shape. And I have cut some tiny little strips from my black clay that I'm going to wrap around. And hopefully I can get it straight. One of the biggest challenges is keeping this black line straight. And because it sticks up a little bit when you manipulate it, the black has a tendency to wave. So try not to manipulate that any more than absolutely necessary. And I'll cut a piece this way. I need just one more little stripe. And I'm trying to cut it fairly thin. And I'll put this around it. And if this one stays straight, I'm in business. I have to admit, I did this once before, and when I got to this stage, my stripes were so wavy and out of whack, I had to just start over. I couldn't do it. And I'm going to try not to handle these stripes a whole lot, because I don't want them getting wavy on me, but I will try to mend this seam with my fingers just a little bit. So there's pretty much the body of the bee. I probably should put it on this card so it won't stick to my work surface. And I'm also going to use a cutter, and I'm going to just cut a circle. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. I think this one wasn't quite big enough. I have so many different sizes of Kemper cutters, it's nice to have different options. But this is rolled to a number 3, so it's going to be a little bit smaller than what you would imagine from the size of the cutter. But there's my little round head. And I think he's going to go right here. And you can shape that head however you want it. And then on this end, I'm going to cut a tiny little circle. And roll it into a teardrop. And slice the end so that it's flat. And put this on the end as a stinger. I think that's so cute. So that's pretty much your basic bee. Now I believe I said this in the other video that I did, that you can change your colors. You don't have, this is sort of a honey color that I'm doing. You can do yellow with the black stripes and make it a yellow jacket. You can make it black with yellow stripes and make it a bumblebee. You know, there's so many options. But what I'm also going to do, I'm going to take a piece of this honey color. I'm going to cut a little tiny circle. And I probably don't even need to do that. I probably just needed to make, I'm going to cut it in half. And in half again. And I need this to be a tiny dot. This is going to be for his eyes. So you just make a, it might be better just to pick off a tiny little piece of clay. That may work. Take a dotting tool. And make little dots where you want his eyes to be. And take your dotting tool and just pick it up and stick it in that little hole. And then put a little dot in the middle. It kind of secures it and makes it look like an eye. Now another thing you can do, and I'm not going to do it on this one, mainly because I don't have it prepared. You can take a tiny little piece, 2 little pieces of black wire, and curl them and stick them in the top of his head for his antenna. But I don't think I'm going to do that. So there's that. And now we need something for his wings. And since I'm using scrap clay today, let me see if I have any white in here that I can use. See, when I say scrap, I mean scrap. And I'm just going to cut some of this white off. And I might even put some translucent with it. I'm not going to make fancy wings because this is not going to be a fancy bee. Let me put a little bit more translucent than I have white. So this is just maybe 2 parts of white to 3 parts of translucent. That gives you an idea of my ratio. Let me get all my clay out of the way so it doesn't interfere. And I'm going to blend that on my pasta machine. just a few times to get it started because I don't want it to be solid. I want it to be a little streaked with the translucent. I don't know if you can see this. You can't really see. Let me go ahead and roll it. If you roll it, you can see that there's some striations in there. That is the translucent. And I'll use even another Kemper cutter. I keep getting bigger. I'm going to try this one first. I'm going to stick up here where the translucent is. I think that'll probably work. And do the same thing, kind of fold it and make sure there's no air getting trapped. Mush it together. Make a little teardrop. And then mash it. And using the cutter, because I've got two equally sized pieces of clay, my wings will be about the same size. And I say about because they may not be shaped exactly the same. See, this one ended up being flatter than that one. And I may take my dotting tool and just put a few streaks in it just to look like wings. And these still might be too big. But I'm going to put them on anyway. Just attach them where you want them. And again, take your ball tool. Well, I've got his wings on his belly. Take your ball tool and just make sure that it's adhered to the clay because they're going to kind of set up a little bit. And then take the other one and try to get it sort of in the same position. And you can look at it and see if your wings are where you want them, and you can move your wings a little bit. But there's my little bee. I think he's kind of cute. So now, how to make it into a charm. And I've got several different options down here. I have a head pin, which can be inserted through the bottom, which will come up through the top. And then you can make a little loop with your round nose pliers. I have a tiny little screw eye. You can take that and kind of screw it in, and the screws in there, the screw on the hook on the eye, will keep it from slipping out after it bakes. Or you can take a little eye pin like this, see the little eye pin, and take some pliers, which I can't get off of my thing right now, of course. And if I use this eye pin, I would take it and bend it kind of into a zigzag, like this. Can you see that zigzag? And that zigzag will also keep it from pulling out once the clay is baked. So I think I'm going to use this since I've got it here and it's already bent. And I'm going to put it right through the clay. My little stinger got unpointed. And there you go. Bake it at 275 for, again, I bake everything at least for an hour. And you've got you a little bee charm. So I hope you liked that. I think it was fun. Like I said, you can add little antenna to that if you want. If you've got some black wire, that might look cute, but I'm not going to do that because I feel like with it being a charm, it just is something that'll catch on your clothes. So I hope everybody enjoyed that, and I will be back soon with another polymer clay video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.